What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Mr. J-Indy Intellect, Mr. J. Indiana Jones. Want to come and apologize for dropping so many F-bombs on the last video when I was spazzing. I ain't going to apologize for what I said, but I'm just going to apologize for utilizing so many F-bombs when I didn't really have to. You know what I'm saying? But I was just showing the frustration. So carrying on, coming to y'all with a quick spit. Check this out. So when I used to tell y'all like we in the state of the republic, or going back into the state of republic of what we really are, and then because if you think about the republic when we was back in the state of when it was just a republic, that's when slavery was going on, right? So you think about like people be like, dang, well, nah, we ain't going back to that, But I was stating the fact that everybody was free then. You just had people who took advantage of a situation. Well, if we're back in that state, martial law is slavery, right? Everybody talking about this martial law, So if you think about it, if we go back to the republic and they implement martial law, that would be just like how when we was back in the republic and it was slavery then. But it was still the opportunity to be free. Still definitely opportunity, because you was free. Because the republic is we the people, right? Check this out. My books did some damage. I lost it. I got the covers, but they offer the books. My favorite books I always go to. The Teachers and Pupils Cyclopedia. You look down there at the bottom. 1907. So this is is this the last book? No, this is book 4. It's a total of like 5 books. So this book 4 is just, encyclopedia. So I went to look up Republic. And it states, Republic. All right. Republic, the form of government in which the sovereignty resides in the people. And the administration is lodged in officers elected by and who represent the people. The element of democracy is necessarily included in the management of a republic, since the extension of suffrage to the people is democratic, while the representative feature in lawmaking and law executing is the Republican element. The government of the United States is Democratic Republican, but is generally known as a republic. In reality, there are 2 distinct classes of governments in our country, known as state and federal. Before the 13 original states ratified the Constitution, each possessed an independent national sovereignty. When it entered the federal union, it became subject to the general constitution, but it retained the dependent republic government. The nation is bound to preserve the right of republican government in each of the states and obligations laid upon it by the national constitution. Thus, each state has a constitution more or less similar to that of the other states, and is dependent on or limited by the constitution of the federal government. I wasn't going to go further, but I'm going to just read the whole definition while I'm here. We only have 4 minutes, so. Republics had their origin in the opposition that prevailed against hereditary monarchies, as well as the case in Greece, Rome, and America. Greece, Rome, and America. The essential feature have continued to be principally the control of the chief executive by elections and laws emanating from assemblies chosen by an enfranchised class. In ancient Greece, the government of a small state partook of the nature of democracy, where the whole body of citizens met to enact their laws, while the republics of Genoa, Venice, and others of the medieval Italy partook of the nature of oligarchy. Oligarchy. Sorry. Damn, I'm fucking up. It's too early. I'm too high. Oligarchy. Since the right of the suffrage was vested amongst entirely in the nobles and few privileged individuals. The representatives from prevails in all modern republics. Nearly all have a written constitution. They vest the right of suffrage in the male citizens. In most cases through an electoral college, as in the United States, or by the legislature, as in France and Switzerland. The legislative authority is generally vested in the assembly of two chambers or houses, and the judiciary has power to pass upon the constitutionality of laws and executive acts. Switzerland and France are the only powerful republics of Europe, but there are three others: Andorra, Monaco, and San Marino. The last name is the oldest republic in the world. It is situated on the Italian coast of the Adriatic Sea and dates from the 4th century. France was a republic at three different periods: in 1793, 1804, and in 1848 to 1852, and from 1870 to present time. The 7 provinces of the Holland organized the republic at the time of their separation from Spain and maintained it until 1815. The government of England was a nominal republic from 1649 to 1660, and Spain was so governed at two periods in 1868 through 1869 and in 1873 to 1874. In 1776, the American colonies declared their independence, but the United States was not organized as the constitutional republic until 1789. Mexico obtained its republican government in 1824, which it has ever since possessed except in the brief period of the Maximilians' reign from 1863 to 1867. All the independent governments of America are now republics. Brazil obtaining that form of government in 1889. At present, there is a marked tendency toward the establishment of republics and toward limiting the power of monarchies by constitutions. It is not at all improbable that the present century will witness the establishment of republics in many regions governed at present by powerful monarchies. And this book was written in 1907. So, think about it. Were there any countries we know about that turned into republics? Think about that. In the past, from 1907 to 2020. This is an old ass book. Shit. I'm doing it damn good, you know. I mean, shit, this just fell off. Look, I'm telling you. I know y'all like, J-Indy, get them together, but I mean, shit. I got a bunch of them. It's just words. I can write them down. It'll take a long time. And it's funny. We might as well keep going. Because right on the next page. Respiration. Perfect. Respiration. I know I'm hopping subjects, but it's J-Indy intellect time. Pay attention. Respiration. The process of breathing, which consists of two acts: taking in the air, or inspiration, and expelling the air, or expiration. It is partially nutritive and partially excretory in its character, since it revives the blood by taking in oxygen and casts out waste products in the form of carbonic acids. Besides carbonic acid, there is a quantity of water and organic matter given out by the breath, which may be seen more or less clearly by breathing on a glass or window pane at low temperature. Respiration is carried on in man and the higher animals mainly by the lungs. The air enters into the mouth or nose, passes through the larynx, a kind of hollow chamber extending from near the root of the tongue to the trachea or windpipe, whence it passes into the lungs through two bronchial tubes. On entering the lungs, the bronchial tubes divide and subdivide, usually by tubes, into smaller tubes called bronchi. And then the whole appears like a tree with many branches. The larynx is a framework made up of cartilages held together by small ligaments and forms the projection called Adam's apple. An elastic plate called the epiglottis is at the upper opening of the larynx, which closes down over its entrance while swallowing, thus preventing the emission of food substances into the bronchial tubes. The tubes in the lungs terminate in minute. Air cells, which are enclosed by transparent and very thin walls, and through them ramified blood vessels, lymphatics, and nerves. As the air enters the lung, the diaphragm, a thin partition between the chest and the abdomen, is lowered while the ribs are raised, thus increasing the size of the chest. Thereupon, the elastic lungs expand to occupy the extra space while the air rushes in through the windpipe and pours along the bronchial tubes, crowding into every cell. The operation is revised when the air is expelled. The walls of the abdomen are drawn in, the diaphragm pressed upward, and the ribs are pulled downward, thus diminishing the size of the chest and forcing the air outward. Ordinary breathing is done mainly by moving the diaphragm. It takes place about 18 times per minute during the waking hours, or at the rate of one breath to every 4 beats of the heart. The lungs of a healthy adult have a capacity for about 330 cubic inches of air, and in ordinary breathing about 30 cubic inches pass in and out. Through it is possible to take in fully 100 cubic inches in a deep inspiration. A quantity of air is always in the lungs. The constant supply is equal to the amount of 100 cubic inches. This is important for the reason that the action of the air goes on continuously. In the process of breathing, the blood comes in contact with the air as it is pressed into the air cells of the lungs, where it takes up the oxygen and in turn gives up carbonic acid gas and other impurities taken up in its circulation through the body. By the process, it is changed from dark blue to a bright red color, thus purified in Latin with the inspiring oxygen is going bounding through the system while the air we exhale carries off the impurities. If respiration is interfered with, the arterial blood becomes dark like that of the veins, and when death takes place by asphyxia, as it does when respiration is impeded, the body assumes a very dark color. Foul matter passed off from the lungs diffuses itself through the surrounding atmosphere. And if good ventilation is not provided in rooms, occupied by a number of persons, the air becomes largely poisoned by impurities. Self-quarantine people. As a result, the system suffers from lack of oxygen, which is speedily followed by drowsiness, headaches, catarrh. I don't even know what that is. Catarrh. Shit, look it up. And finally, by serious and fatal diseases. Respiration in fishes is carried on by the gills. The water inhaled giving up oxygen while the exhale carries off nitrogen and other impurities. The reasons that fishes cannot long endure in the stagnant water is that oxygen is rapidly consumed in the process of breathing. Thus, it becomes necessary to frequently replace water in vessels where fish are kept. No special apparatus is provided for the aeration of fluids in the body of the lowest and simplest form of animals, this being affected by the general movements of the body, or by cilia provided by the necessary currents. Some animals are incapable of breathing either air or water, and in such the process is carried on by the skin or through small sacs at regular intervals on each side of the body, as in the leech or earthworm. Respiration is carried on in insects by spiracles opening into tubes which communicate with each other through the body. Plants have a respiratory process somewhat similar to the animals, but they take in carbonic acid as the vital element, and they exhale oxygen, thus reversing the action of animals. Shit, I can't even talk because it's amazing. Goodness. Why y'all don't know this? Alright, thus reversing the actions of the animal. However, the normal respiration in plants takes place only in the presence of light. Holy shit. Thus, it will be seen that nature has provided elements alike essential to both forms of life at each depended at least to some extent on the other. Dude, I just read the definition of respiration in this book from 1907, and I just read for damn near 10 minutes long. Mind you that the key things that it said though, like plants breathe out oxygen, which what we breathe in. Also, stand in a room with a bunch of people poisons the air. So have plants in your room, have light in your room for the plants. Now, artificial light, actual sunlight. So have the plants by the windows where the light comes in into your house. Breathe in that. Open your windows also when you're in the house. You know what I'm saying? Get outside, people. Stop sitting inside the house. Get outside. If you have to stay in your porch, that's fine. Get in the grass though. You know what I'm saying? And get outside when the sun is out. Please. We're under a state of a national emergency. Martial law has already been enacted. It's automatically enacted. Obama been signed that off. He been signed that off. So, being in the state of the Republic and automatically going into martial law is basically slavery all over again. That's what they're trying to go back. So back in 1776, around that little time when they was doing that, you know what I'm saying? When they did that, they doing this. It's different. Because now it's for everybody. It ain't just for skin color. It's for everybody. And it's a status thing. Federal and state. Federal versus the state. That's why all the governors is in charge. That's why, you know what I'm saying, people can smoke bud. Because the states is letting it be free. But the feds still say, nah, we come in. Shut that down. We don't care. You got a card? All right, that's cool. We taking it. It's mine. You know what I'm saying? So, Y'all people, just do y'all research, understand what's going on. Another thing I'm gonna talk about is about what's it called? Like the white what's it called? The white tangent. Did I say that right? You know, that sex stuff when people be, you know what I'm saying? That safe sex and all that exotic stuff, you know what I mean? When you basically practicing no ejaculation overall, semen retention. But I'm going to speak on that because I feel right now I understand a situation with that of the time period where we at. And then it's like, well, you don't want to have no babies right now. Like, real shit. Having a baby right now is kind of like a burden because it's like, if it's a zombie apocalypse, if it's a natural disaster, if it's vaccinations, if it's all of these different things, chips, all of these aspects of things that is possible, which all might be too because of all the collective mind bringing it to. So with this being in existence, why would you bring life into existence without even fully comprehending what's going on? Get your body together. Become 100% light beings. And you and your significant other become 100% light being. You know what I'm saying? Be protected. Understand what's going on. Have a protection of what's going on right now. Have a squad. Have your militia, your army. You know what I'm saying? Your people. We the people. Be with your we the people. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be locked up somewhere. You know what I'm saying? With a baby on the way. You know what I mean? You don't want to be known to have a certain blood type that is rare and having a baby coming. You know what I'm saying? You don't want these situations and not having your backup. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you go to jail and you don't got your bail money. So you hit. You go to jail, you don't got no money for no lawyer. So you hit. Versus the fact that, you know what I'm saying, the opposition to that. So, I mean, you take that into account. You know what I mean? Pay attention to that. But it's your boy, J-Indy Jones, Mr. J-Indy Intellect, coming to y'all with a little knowledge out of the book, with a little thought and a little inspiration, and stuff for y'all to research. Get to it. I'm coming back. Peace, love, and abundance.